maybe a little backstory is important. How do we get here in the first place? Mm-hmm. I saw the Little Brother doc many weeks ago. This is after it's people had some time to sit with it, so it's a little late. But then I texted you. You saw something else with Little Brother and then decided to watch the doc. And then once we had a conversation, we're like, we got to talk about this. So that's what we're going to be spending the time doing for the rest of the podcast, is talking about the Little Brother doc called May the Lord Watch, the Little Brother story.
Which coincides also with their 2019 album of the same name, May the Lord Watch.
Nice. Everybody knows the story of Little Brother, or at least that fans of Little Brother know the story of Little Brother, but didn't know it from this perspective. I think I've read a few articles, and even after the documentary, even after watching the documentary, people are still wondering, like, people still have this perception of Little Brother as, yo, this is Pooh, this is Fonte, this is Ninth. That's never going to erase as the impression on my mind. And so I think our first topic is how Little Brother met. Let's do this.
Let's get it.
Brutus.
The RA, my man Joe Drama, he lived like right down the hall. Joe Drama used to have people in his room all the time, listening to music, talking about music, whatever. And Fonte comes in one day. I got this rhyme I wrote for English class show. I wanna spit that joint. Y'all tell me what y'all think. I remember to this day. It's called No Apologies. And when he finished, I was like, nigga, you wrote that? That's crazy. Like, I was always the music aficionado in my crew. When I got around Tay, I was like, I don't know shit. I was like, I want to know what he knows. And that was kind of the beginning of our relationship.
That's a dope story.
Dog is dope. I mean, it's kind of like us.
Is it?
It's all right.
You just walked in my dorm room, started spitting bars, and then I was like, nigga, I don't know shit.
So for our rapping thing, right? It was as simple as, yo, we want to try and do this talent show. Do you want to do it with it?
True. I think the meeting in this really organic way is impactful. I also want to know how Ninth came into this. So maybe
right
play a few more seconds.
We're all like in the commons area of the dorm, and I see this dude with a Source magazine, you know what I mean? And, Source, it was like, the holy grail kind of at that time. Hey, man, let me see that joint. Let me see that. You know what I mean? He's like, all right. And so he's going through the mag, and I see we're liking the same shit.
Ninth is pretty much like me. I would have been that guy sitting around reading the Source. I like... Every magazine release, I would go and purchase the XXL, the Source, Complex.
Yeah.
I collected those three for sure.
Shit. Like, I'm on, like, yo, Most Def, Black on Both Sides. He like, oh, you know about that? I'm like, hell yeah, nigga, I know about this. We were on a lot of the same things, and we laughed at some of the same shit, too. You know what I mean? So, I meet Ninth. I think I saw him that day, and I don't think we saw each other again for months. By this time, I was living in the new dorm. This is the new residence. So, niggas, we done moved up and shit. So he shows up, and he's like, yo, what up, man? I'm like, what up? He's like, yo, I got some shit I want to play for you. So I'm thinking it's some new exclusive, a new whatever. And he puts it in, he plays beats. I'm like, yo, this shit dope. Who this?
The same thing, which is that creation and trust. So the first thing is, Fonte comes in. I got this rap I wrote for English class. Then after their relationship, Ninth comes in. I got something I want you to hear. It's so organic how these things happen. And it's, man, this documentary just gave me chills in so many different ways when I was watching it because of how natural it all was.
I think everybody's point of view, or at least perception of how successful groups come together, is that they're very intentional. And oftentimes they're like happenstance and accidental. These are three individuals that end up at the same school who didn't know each other to begin with, and because of that circumstance have now formed this legendary group. And I think everybody always assumes that stuff happens on purpose.
The next thing I think I want to delve into with this documentary was, so I'm going to go in with people that are influenced directly by Little Brother.
No matter where you at, nigga from all the way from North Carolina, come out here rocking with niggas from the West Coast all day, every day, anytime. This is what it is, man. It's real.
That sounds real.
It's real.
That's real.
Long term, too.
And that was the power of their influence. It runs through so many different lanes, because when we did the De La Soul review, same feelings. Of what it was that they came to do. And they came to be the antithesis to mainstream hip hop, to what was becoming overly digestible, to the club records. Little Brother gave so much for what they would have considered the underground scene, and artists that grew to a different stage in terms of their style, that it's one of those things where you gotta give it more respect and more honor than I think that we do.
So we're talking about how people were influenced by Little Brother. Drake talks about it all the time in his interviews, how impressed with Fonte that he has been. Or so when I got to college, that's when So Far Gone came out. And in the dorm room is when people were sharing that with me, and so I go download it, and then I'm on college radio, and then so I'm playing Drake and hearing essence of Fonte in his rhyme.
Yes, the source, and because we glossed over it a little bit in terms of them having a conversation of how important the source and you were saying XXL Complex was, but what they did on the source, just. Let's do this.
The source for most of the 1990s and even into the 2000s was the most important organ of hip-hop journalism. The source developed this rating system for records and albums, the 5-mic system, and those 5 mics were coveted by artists.
Having 4 mics in the source was holy shit. And then having the hip hop quotable, I was like, damn.
Today, that would be Anthony Fontano.
Yeah.
Reviewing an album we make, and then he's like, shit, it's fire.
I give it a very nice 5 out of 5 from Anthony Fontano. But real talk. Or any of the having that, or having universal bloggers say this is a 5 out of 5 album.
They got 4 mics, sorry, which is highly coveted
on your first outing
on an album that you made in the bedroom. Anything to kind of start this one off?
Nope, because it's just gonna be a story about us and how tours are insane.
Kind of loosely threw that out there. I'm like, what's up? Did Little Brother get on there? He's like, that's what I'm thinking. That would be dope, right? And I'm like, that would be real dope.
The High Road Tour was big because that put them on the map to go touring, because High Road Tour, that's what they do. Yeah, so DJ, I done drove, I sold the merch, nigga, I managed, I did all that shit.
Right before the High Road Tour happens, this is when Ninth gets the J call.
I think he called me before, yo, man, I'm about to meet Hove in 2 days, so call up and just see what the temperature is up there and all that stuff. So I went out and I gave Hove my message. He's like, yo, man, Ninth One just gonna play you some beats? He's like, yeah, he is. I said, yo, man, so good in it. And that's when I really had Hove's ear, okay. He came highly recommended. I remember he told me that not only was he able to give him a beat, but then Beyonce wanted a beat too for the Destiny's Child album. And so he was just totally
obviously, nigga go do that, right? This Jay-Z. If you study hip-hop, you know that if your producer's in a group, if your producer's worth a damn, they're gonna go on to do other things. You know what I'm saying? Preem was Preem outside of that, but he had Gang Starr. Dre was Dre, but he started in NWA, you know what I mean? So you always know that if you have a producer, they're gonna go on to do greater things.
What's funny about that, though, is a lot of artists, in regards to that, especially with them, it didn't seem like they it felt like they understood it, but it also felt like they didn't at the same time.
Yeah, you're kind of foreshadowing. So I think when it came to Night's success, it rubbed them. They weren't jealous, but they believed that he should have been with them a lot more in order to earn the title of being a Little Brother member.
Yeah, and there are very few like producers that we can like, because even if with all the people he mentioned, Dre was Dre, but then the stuff started happening in terms of the business with NWA.
Right. So you can't take Dre's NWA title away just because the business was bad with Suge Knight.
Yeah, but also you can't take away. It's hard with these producers and groups because any of the producers that are in groups weren't necessarily saying, hey, I don't want to produce anymore.
Right.
Like the business ended up being bad or the relationships ended up being bad, and then they went on to do other things.
Yeah, and Guru passed away. So like,
yeah,
there's no equivalent for that.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know how many like runs we have of like group artist producer outside of Little Brother. You know, like you have people that primarily do the beats, like, you know, Q-Tip would do beats, but Q-Tip was also an artist,
right?
So he had a different involvement than just a producer. So it's kind of interesting to see the landscape and the people that he mentioned, because it's like, well, yeah, they all follow the same story, which is started in a group goes crazy, and then we end up in a fallout, and then here we are.
I see towards that.
Biggest security problem right now is keeping the artists on the tour with us from pulling all the girls backstage.
Nah, I win that. We're on an RV with a pimp, a real pimp, a guy named Late Night Billy, an artist named Z-Man, an artist named Encore, and ID. We didn't know any of these people when this tour started. I had to learn to sleep sitting up. We're sharing one hotel room, me, Tay, and Doe. And every night we switch in between who got a bed versus who got a cot. But it was an experience I'll never forget. We did that first run, I think like 10, 11 days or whatever. And we came back to Carborough. We're in Chapel Hill. Me, Tay, and Doe got together, had a conversation, and was like, Knife can't come out here. He's not built for what this experience is.
I don't know how they reached that conclusion without him being in the conversation.
Agreed. But and it's like one of those, give him the opportunity to have the experience to see if he changes versus telling him how he's going to respond to this experience.
Exactly. Like, let him be him. They may be right? They may be right that like it's not for him. I feel like this is where the relationship goes wrong. It's because they exclude him from the conversation about a group that he is officially in.
Yeah. And you are already making decisions, because it's like, if you said, hey, this is a big opportunity for you, I encourage you to go and do this. I go and do it. Then I come back and it's like, nah. Or I'm about to come back and it's like, I don't really think you can do this. Well, what do you think of me, and what do you think of me in regards to this group? Like, if it felt like you want me at your beck and call, but how you want me to be?
Yeah.
And then when I'm listening to the situation you set up, and my stock is rising because I'm spending time, separately, because I'm not just sitting on my thumbs. Now we got issue. And because of their dynamic, I think that would lead to our next point, which we were about the label not knowing how to market them. But if you don't even know what your configuration is and how you want to work it, I don't know how they would have been able to market it anyway. Yeah. Because they're coming at it from the perspective of seeing what Ninth had been doing. Like, we got the producer in your group has placements here, 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 with stars that are here.
Vision.
I hadn't dealt with artists as sophisticated, as funny, and as intelligent as them. Sonically, the label was very receptive. There was a marketing challenge.
You have us, a group that was discovered, for better or worse, via the internet. Their internet department had like 2 people in it. That's basically what a label is now, but in 2004, it wasn't.
Because social media was not a thing yet, you just had to rely on radio, video. Things were more traditional then.
For a label to say we need a single, I mean, the singles at that time, it was, it was the Snap stuff was going up. It was kind of ringtone kind of records, that were going off at the time. And, those records were fine, they were cool, But me and Pooh trying to make a record to compete with that or to fit into that, like we would look like fucking idiots.
So here's my issue with this. I don't think any label that makes billions of dollars, I just think when your value to the market is millions and billions of dollars, you don't have an excuse as a professional to say, I don't know how to market individuals.
Especially not when you have a unique product.
Especially in that time with that unique product. Because at that time, Kanye West was winning, had already won with Jay-Z. Ninth was working with Jay-Z.
Wayne was winning in his secondary, like his lyricist bag. Like this is Carter 2.
But they were signed to Atlantic Records, right? So they were signed to ABB, and then Atlantic is their parent company. In my opinion, you don't have to worry about the internet. The internet is not what's keeping you from being successful. The social media not existing is not what's keeping you from like executing on this marketing plan. I feel like that's a fucking excuse. Even without social media today, I would know how to market us, and we're in the same boat as those individuals.
Yeah.
And when you only have to rely on radio and video and those types of things, could you not put them on a press tour? Could you not like put them in front of late night shows like Conan O'Brien at the very least? Because Conan was huge at this time. Could you not have them do new singles and collaborate with individuals that Ninth was working with?
Yeah.
Kanye West popping off at that time is a blueprint.
Hey, I see what you did there.
Yeah. I do that all the time. So I think the last part we can talk about is the fall off.
We finish this tour. I know you're gonna still be on the road. When I get home, I'm gonna start working on the next Little Brother record, and I'll send you ideas. And then when you get home, obviously we can finish up records. And I looked at him dead in his face. I was like, nah. When I get home, I want to work on the next Pooh record. And I think at that point, that was the window for him to be like, okay, I ain't doing this no more. Like, I'm done. Like, this LB shit, like, I'm done with it all. Like, I'm done. I was like, oh shit, okay. Like, what? Little Brother was over.
First Little Brother breakup, and every day I wake up, somebody got a problem with.
But like, such a deep line, like deep the line. The funniest thing about this when I got to this part in the documentary, or not funniest part, but the most sombering part, is you think about this moment of like real life communication or miscommunication and breakdowns, right? We went through it, and so many other groups go through it where you just don't know what to do.
I just don't understand why they allude to it a little bit in this part. Like Fonte understood later on, at least, understood how to market a Little Brother album and do it independently. Pooh didn't understand that. I'm wondering where the breakdown comes in, where like, nah, I just want to go do a solo record, and I don't want to do a record with you right now.
I think it's again the thought process of, much like he said. So when you start groups, when we do all these things, like when we started rapping or whatever, we didn't know how to have conversations about what we really wanted out of this music industry. We had conversations about what we thought we expected, dreams we had, wanting to do this, wanting to do that, right?
Yeah, but I don't know how you can't do two records at the same time.
I think at that point,
because I would have never said to you that like, nah, don't go do a solo record because we gotta record. That's where I feel like the breakdown in the relationship comes from. Because I was like, well, Fonte, why are you reacting like this? Can't you just let him go do his thing and then like and then record some stuff on the side, or the other way around, like, Pooh, why you acting like this? Can't you just go record your stuff and then record some Lil Brother stuff on the side too?
I also think it was because of what the intentions were with Lil Brother. So he could, like, I can go and do a Pooh record on, not independently, I can go and sign somewhere, which is what he wanted to do. It was the intentions of what are we going to do with this? Like, and he's like, I mean, you talking to me about independent stuff, like, I don't want to do that. Like,
Right.
we still got labels and stuff that are coming to us. That's my expectation.
We still got a chance to
Like,
be in this system.
Yeah, like, no, I'll go do this. And then, like, in his mind, I'm going to do this. And then we can come back and have another conversation about how we can go to these labels. And it's like, I'm done with that, especially for Fonte, who had seen the other side of that. Like, if it wasn't for you, I would have never thought about independent anything because it just didn't make sense. It seems like the most unsure thing ever.
Well, I think with independence, you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
And the same thing with labels, you don't know what you don't know. But with independence, you don't know even more. At least with labels, you can see that there's an outcome.
Yeah.
Because you can witness the outcome. You can witness the TRL, the 106 in Park interview. You can be like, oh, okay. Once I get signed, I can go sit with Sway and sit with this person. With independence, you like, I don't even know how to start that conversation.
Right. And the biggest issue is, I don't know, man. It was so.
I think this is a great dog.
Yeah.
I think that Lil Brother is iconic. I think they're legendary. I'm sad about the reaction. I want to know how Ninth feels.
Yeah, same.
So there's still some questions lingering out there after watching this. Like, I feel like they were very cryptic, and then they were cryptic in the interviews that they had afterwards. So, I don't know. I struggle with why Lil Brother can't be Lil Brother even in 2024.
That is one of the longest episodes we've ever done. Shout out to y'all on Patreon if you've watched all of this. I mean, if you watch 3 hours of Cat Williams, you can watch this hour of us.
Seriously, right?
But we appreciate you for joining us and letting us nerd out a little bit over a group that means a lot to the industry, and a documentary that was really inspiring to me. We thank you guys for being here. Like, comment, subscribe to the video on this rush to 1,000 viewers and beyond. 1,000 subs and beyond. Dang it, I had the dope new one and I can't remember it.
You had a dope new one?
Yeah, like, no, we did it on the last one. It was a dope rhyme.
I don't remember.
Anyway, we'll see you guys next week. A 1 and a 2, and peace.